Alfred Nobel was born on October 21, 1833, in Stockholm, Sweden. His father, Immanuel, was an inventor and engineer. His mother, Caroline, cared for their large family. Alfred was the fourth of 8 children. Sadly, only Alfred and 3 of his brothers lived past childhood. His family faced struggles, but stayed close to each other. As a child, Alfred was often sick. Despite this, he loved learning and asking questions. His mother supported his curiosity and spent time teaching him new ideas. Alfred's father worked hard to provide for the family. He had many ideas but faced failures in business. Yet, he passed his love for science and engineering to Alfred. In 1837, Immanuel moved to St. Petersburg, Russia, where he found success making explosives and tools. He brought his family there 5 years later, in 1842. The Nobel family lived a better life in Russia. Immanuel could now afford private tutors for Alfred. Alfred enjoyed studying and quickly became a top student. By the age of 16, Alfred was already skilled in chemistry. He could speak many languages, including Swedish, Russian, French, German, and English. He loved learning. Alfred's early years shaped his future. His health improved, and he grew more confident in science. His close bond with his family helped him stay focused. Alfred's childhood, though not easy, gave him the strength and skills he needed. His love of knowledge started early and stayed with him throughout his life. In 1837, Alfred's father, Immanuel Nobel, moved to St. Petersburg, Russia. He hoped to start a better business and support his family with his skills. Immanuel became successful in Russia by making explosive mines and tools for factories. His work earned him enough money to bring his family to join him. In 1842, Alfred, his mother, and his siblings left Stockholm and moved to St. Petersburg. The family settled into a new, more comfortable life. In St. Petersburg, Alfred's father continued to invent and grow his business. He worked on machines and tools while teaching Alfred about engineering. Alfred's parents now had the money to hire private teachers. These tutors helped Alfred learn many subjects, including chemistry, languages, and mathematics. Alfred enjoyed studying and was eager to learn more. His hard work and interest in science made him a skilled student at a young age. By the time Alfred was 16, he was a trained chemist and could speak 5 languages. He amazed his teachers with how quickly he learned new things. His father's business gave him chances to see how science worked in real life. These experiences helped Alfred understand how to solve problems. Alfred's time in Russia gave him a strong base in science and languages. He was ready to use his knowledge to create great things in the future. In 1850, Alfred Nobel left Russia to study chemistry in Paris. He spent a year learning from top scientists and growing his knowledge in this field. After Paris, Alfred traveled to the United States. There, he worked with John Erickson, a well-known engineer who built a famous warship called the Monitor. These years gave Alfred new ideas and experiences. He returned to Russia in 1852 and joined his father's business, which was making military equipment. The family's factory grew during the Crimean War by producing weapons and tools for the army. Alfred worked closely with his father to improve the factory's designs. When the war ended in 1856, the demand for weapons dropped. The Nobel family tried to change the factory's focus to steamboat machinery. Despite their efforts, the factory struggled to make money during peace. In 1859, the family business went bankrupt, forcing major changes in their lives. Alfred and his parents returned to Sweden, but his brothers Robert and Ludwig stayed in Russia. They tried to save what was left of the family business. Back in Sweden, Alfred began to focus on his own experiments. He was interested in creating new explosives that were safer and more effective. Alfred's small lab on his father's property became the starting point for his future success. He spent hours testing new ideas and improving materials. After returning to Sweden, Alfred focused on making explosives safer to use. He worked with nitroglycerin, a very powerful but dangerous liquid. At that time, nitroglycerin was hard to handle. It could explode unexpectedly, making it unsafe for miners and builders who needed it for their work. In 1862, Alfred built a small factory to produce nitroglycerin. At the same time, he searched for a way to control how and when the liquid exploded. Alfred invented a detonator in 1863. It used a small amount of gunpowder inside a wooden plug to safely start a larger explosion of nitroglycerin. This device made it easier to use explosives without accidents. The detonator also marked the beginning of Alfred's fame as an inventor of new technologies. In 1865, Alfred improved his design with a blasting cap. It used mercury fulminate, a material that could be set off by shock or heat, for better safety. Even with these inventions, nitroglycerin remained risky. In 1864, an explosion at Alfred's factory killed his brother Emil and several workers. Instead of giving up, Alfred continued to improve explosives. In 1867, he found that mixing nitroglycerin with a soft material called kieselguhr made it safer. The mixture was easier to handle and transport. Alfred named it dynamite, from the Greek word dynamis, meaning power. He received patents for it in 1867 and 1868. Dynamite quickly became popular around the world. It was used to build railways, tunnels, and canals. Alfred's invention made such projects safer and faster. The success of dynamite brought Alfred both fame and wealth. He built factories in many countries to produce dynamite and other related products. Alfred's dynamite not only made construction easier, but also changed the way people thought about explosives. It was a breakthrough in science and industry. After dynamite, Alfred Nobel continued to invent better explosives. In 1875, he created blasting gelatin, which was even more powerful and water-resistant. Blasting gelatin was made by mixing nitroglycerin with nitrocellulose. This created a strong, plastic-like material that worked well in wet conditions. Alfred patented blasting gelatin and later invented smokeless powder, which produced less smoke when used. It became useful in many industries, including weapons. Alfred built many factories across Europe to produce his explosives. He also started companies to market and sell his products around the world. Even with patents, Alfred faced many challenges. Competitors often copied his inventions, forcing him to fight long legal battles to protect his work. Despite these problems, Alfred's businesses were successful. By the 1880s, his explosives were used in construction, mining, and military industries globally. Alfred's brothers, Ludwig and Robert, became rich by working in the oil business in Russia. Alfred also invested in their projects, which added to his wealth. In 1893, Alfred became interested in Sweden's arms industry. He bought an ironworks at Bofors, which later became a major factory for weapons. Alfred was not only an inventor, but also a businessman. Over his life, he registered more than 350 patents for various inventions, including silk and leather. Even as he succeeded, Alfred's inventions caused controversy. Many people feared the harmful uses of explosives, especially in wars. Alfred felt deeply about this. Although Alfred hoped his work could help humanity, he knew it was also used in destruction. This conflict stayed with him for the rest of his life. Alfred's ability to keep inventing and expanding his business showed his skill, but it also brought him questions about his role in the world. Alfred Nobel was a private person who often stayed alone. He traveled a lot for his work, but he rarely spent time with many people outside of business. Despite his success, Alfred struggled with sadness. He had moments of depression, which made it hard for him to feel happy even when his work went well. Alfred did not marry, choosing instead to focus on his inventions and businesses. He believed his work gave him more purpose than a romantic life would. Alfred had simple habits. He lived in a modest way, even though he was very rich. He enjoyed reading and writing poems, plays, and novels in his free time. Most of Alfred's writings were never published. Writing helped him think and express his ideas, though he was better known for his inventions than his words. Alfred was thoughtful and kind to his employees. He cared about their well-being and tried to treat them fairly, even when running large factories. Alfred was full of contradictions. He was known as a pacifist who disliked war, but many of his inventions were used in weapons and conflict. He hoped the power of his explosives would prevent wars by making people fear their destruction. However, this hope often clashed with reality. Alfred held strong opinions. He distrusted democracy, opposed voting rights for women, but supported ideas that aimed to help workers and the poor. Even though he appeared serious, Alfred could be funny and kind. He was a good listener and could make clever comments during conversations with friends. Alfred was both an idealist and a realist. He wanted to improve the world, but understood the challenges and limits of human nature and society. These complex traits made Alfred a unique and memorable person. His character shaped the decisions he made, including creating the Nobel Prizes later in life. By the 1890s, Alfred Nobel had become very wealthy, owning more than 90 factories worldwide. Despite his success, he worried about how history would remember him. In 1888, a French newspaper mistakenly wrote about Alfred's death when his brother Ludwig died. The headline called Alfred the Merchant of Death. This upset Alfred deeply. He feared that people would only see him as the man who created deadly explosives, not someone who helped humanity. To leave a positive legacy, Alfred wrote a will in 1895. In it, he set aside most of his fortune to create the Nobel Prizes for those who helped the world. The prizes were to be given in 5 areas: physics, chemistry, medicine, literature, and peace. Later, economics was added to the list in memory of Alfred. Alfred died in 1896, a year after writing his will. When his will was made public, many were surprised by his decision to use his fortune for this purpose. Alfred's prizes aimed to reward people who made the world better. He wanted scientists, writers, and peacemakers to be honored for their hard work. The Nobel Prizes quickly became the most respected awards in the world. People saw them as a symbol of excellence and a way to inspire progress. Alfred's choice showed his belief in the power of knowledge and peace. His prizes continue to celebrate the best achievements of humanity every year. Some believe Alfred's decision was influenced by Bertha von Suttner, an Austrian peace activist. She encouraged him to think about the value of peace. Today, Alfred is remembered as a man of contradictions. He invented tools of destruction, but also created a way to honor those who help others. The Nobel Prizes are a lasting reminder of his complex life. Through them, Alfred Nobel remains one of the most influential figures in history.